This is our town.
Welcome!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Value Town, episode 187. I'm ChanmanV, he's Gaara, and it's just the two of us today, which it's always nice and fun. But how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm not in China like the others.
They're all back now, but yeah, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get somebody from China, but they're all like literally getting back now, so they're like having to, you know, obviously go take care of pets and, you know, do make up for all this lost time. And
back yet? Like they played yesterday the finals?
No, it's the day before.
Oh, but it's like
Yeah.
a 2-day trip.
It's only a 2-day trip. Oh man, I would hate to have to do that. I mean, they literally were there for what, 3 days, 2 or 3 days, and have to fly like across the world. It's the life of an esport player, man. It's crazy. That's what you got to do if you want to win an Aston Martin, man. You know, it's the price you have to pay. But yeah, so anyways, we got some good number of things to talk about this week. BlizzCon Schedule just came out, so definitely talk about that. A couple things from Blizzard events and, you know, just little things that are happening news-wise. Metapulse, of course, the EU versus China event, and then lots of Q&A, you know, from you guys. So we got a couple questions on email, but if you guys want to ask your questions via Twitch chat, we will take those too. So just be ready for that. But our week in Hearthstone. God. How was your week in Hearthstone this week?
I tried to avoid Hearthstone.
Oh my gosh, that's not the right answer. Wrong answer.
But
Maybe I should talk during this.
I still played like Hearthstone. I was streaming Hearthstone. It's like
Yeah.
before, like until Artifact comes out. It's just, man. Other streamers are not really helping to motivate me to play Hearthstone.
Like,
There was a big
did
topic this week.
you ever use other streamers to motivate you to play Hearthstone? Oh,
I mean,
man.
they motivate you more. Like if other people would be like, "Oh, it's not so bad," you know, you just burned out, take a break or whatever. But if people say have
Yeah.
the same opinion as you, that's pretty bad.
Well,
like every
see,
single
that's.
song.
I think this is like a good example of. I mean, we all know there's a lot of other stuff going on right now, and, you know, streamers and pro players trying out different games right now. But, you know, like, I think for me, like, definitely in a completely different boat than, say, you know, somebody like yourself who streams Hearthstone or was streaming Hearthstone every day. And I think the biggest thing is just that, you know, I just don't feel burnt out about Hearthstone. You know, there's a lot of other games. You know, obviously I'm trying them out, and, you know, this episode is also sponsored by Magic the Gathering Arena, by the way, guys, which we'll talk about in a second. But, trying out all these other games too has been a lot of fun. But, you know, I definitely play Hearthstone just at least just a little bit every single day still, and don't feel burnt out about it. But that has to do with me, just the volume of play, right? Like, your volume of play is like 10x the amount of play I play.
So
So
much.
yeah, so I mean, this is really interesting because I'm not sure we've ever delved into this type of situation, you know, where, pretty early on in an expansion, like a month into the expansion, maybe 6 weeks into an expansion, we just have this basically just kind of done, right, with the content type of feel to it. We've never actually had this happen so early. So, I think this has always been a problem. You know,
I
like
think this has a lot to do with the power level of the last two expansions. Just that.
Yeah,
You
but
think so?
I mean, I just don't think there's just been enough change. Like, I think it just comes down to that, right? Like, there just needs to be change, and you know,
You sound like Barack Obama.
yeah,
everything's
there
about
needs to be
change.
change. Yes, there needs to be
Really change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so good.
Actually, you could say that's all the Trump voters that said that. That's what ended up
Change.
happening, right? No, but, you know, I think that's, you know, this is just continues on and on. But I think that just not having anything change is why everybody is, you know, feeling that it's super stagnant right now. And it is super stagnant. I mean, I don't, like we can't deny that. Still, I love the game, and this podcast is about Hearthstone. But the thing is that it's just stagnant right now, and I just want to get that across to Team 5. It's like you have to change stuff. Like, I mean, this is like, I would say, getting along the lines of, just closer to the worst case scenario where, we've had, I mean, it's like healthy from the standpoint of balance, but it's just not healthy from the standpoint of, being stagnant. And, it is another level of complexity that they have to juggle, but it's clearly super important, and especially in a time where competition is around. Hearthstone's had the luxury of not having competition for years now, but now when competition's around, I mean, there should be a huge onus on making changes in between expansions, like, and keeping this up and down aspect of.
You know what's crazy,
play.
actually?
Yeah.
I feel like all the competition appeared at the same time.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, kind of.
Like, Gwent is coming with a huge update. I don't know if you know about that.
Yeah,
they
I
had
saw
no
that.
content for 9 months. So they're gonna come full force, and Code Red did like a stream about it yesterday, and they updated like the visuals of the game. The game looks like insane, like right
really?
now.
Well,
everything's like animated and stuff. You should.
See, the thing with Gwent is I didn't actually have an issue as much with Gwent with just the the actual the animations and the mechanics of it. It was more just the game itself. Like, I didn't think the game itself had the complexity of some of the new games that we see, right? And even Hearthstone. So yeah, the RNG was less, but that was like the only thing going for it. It's just the RNG's less. That's about it.
Yeah, but that's definitely like from the big three, the smallest competitor.
Yeah.
Now we have like Magic Arena making the open beta, and people really seem to enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
And Artifact, of course, like the big guy.
Yeah, of course. So I mean, that kind of leads us, I think, to what's going to happen next. I think that's the biggest thing, right, for Hearthstone. And BlizzCon schedule was announced yesterday.
Also the choose your champion.
Yep, yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second, and that's definitely that's something that we're gonna talk about in the news section. But BlizzCon schedule was released, so you can actually see just what all is going on, all the panels. We definitely got the What's Next panel on the first day, like usual. You got the global games going on, on the stage or just at the esports stage for Hearthstone. Got Streamer Showdown, of course. You definitely got to catch that on Friday too. But that's about it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think that we basically have the first day, and then the rest of it is there's artwork, artist work on the last day. As well, but for the most part, there's some of the puzzling. Well, I don't even know. I didn't know this was there. Puzzling dungeons and bewitching stuff too. Okay, so there's a little bit of, there's a few things for sure. Like, I saw something about people complaining that there wasn't that many things, but that person wasn't looking very well, because there's clearly more things than he was listing out, Reddit wise. But yeah, first off, like, what do you expect to hear? Like, of course we're gonna have an expansion, like normal release of an expansion, but do you expect anything else besides that at BlizzCon? Like, any signs of anything? Like, I don't know what's coming.
The big thing is like Diablo. Like,
everybody's talking about Diablo. Yep, right now.
Like Diablo 4. Like Diablo didn't get any major expansion or update in 4 years.
You think it's Diablo 4? Really?
I mean, they have usually Blizzard releases an expansion every 2 years for all their franchises.
That's fast if it's Diablo 4. Wow.
I mean, like, fast. Like, there was nothing for Diablo for in 4 years, and just an announcement. It could still be like 2 years.
Oh yeah, an announcement of Diablo 4. Okay, yeah, maybe like another year or something like that.
They didn't. Yeah, maybe. Because last year there was nothing. Oh, definitely there will be like some classic WoW, because there was something about classic WoW that it will be like available to play.
Oh really?
There.
Okay.
So that was like
vanilla WoW stuff. Yeah, whatever happened to that, right? Like, there was supposed to be this whole. Like, you remember last BlizzCon, they announced the whole vanilla WoW, and I didn't really keep up with that. Did they ever come out with that server and everything?
No. They just said it takes a lot of time.
Wow. Okay.
To make that happen, and 1 year later, we will probably get another announcement. It will be available there at BlizzCon, apparently.
Yeah. No, but definitely the murmurs right now is that the Diablo announcement is something really great, and I mean, Diablo 4 obviously would be amazing. Somebody's saying Diablo Mobile. I don't know about mobile, but saying
For your
Diablo
Switch.
4 before Warcraft 4 would be really surprising to me. Like whatever continuation of Warcraft or even StarCraft, like that's kind of what I mean by fast. Diablo 3 came out, after
But wasn't
StarCraft
it
2.
like Overwatch was also super unexpected when they announced Overwatch, or was it?
Yeah, it was unexpected. Like I don't know how many people actually realized that I think the word got out that they were doing a shooter maybe a few months before that, but it was, I don't before it was announced, right? Which was like a year before the actual, whatever,
Yeah, they
the
had
beta.
so much stuff
But
there.
yeah.
At
So,
BlizzCon.
but that was like super hype because most everybody was surprised to see all that. So, I'm hoping for some kind of an announcement this year at BlizzCon. Otherwise, BlizzCon's gonna be pretty quiet. Like there's nothing huge, I would say outside of maybe this Diablo thing for any of the other franchises. It's very similar to last year. World Cup for Overwatch.
I think they're gonna
And
announce the next Hearthstone expansion. That's like way too early.
no, they always do. What do you mean? They always announce the next expansion at BlizzCon.
At BlizzCon.
Yeah, they
But
always do. What are you talking about? Yeah.
but before we had adventures, then it made sense because they came way faster. Isn't this like way too early? Wait, when is
No,
BlizzCon?
it's a month. It's a month before the
Okay.
expansion. It's
then
always
it's-
at BlizzCon. Yeah.
Okay.
And we always talk about the cards. So they usually reveal like about 20 cards or 12 cards or something like that. And then so we've done Valley Town at BlizzCon before
Yeah.
and kind of reviewed those cards that they showed.
The
So,
expansion will come out in December, right?
yeah.
The Hearthstone one.
Last year was the dungeon run, right? Like that was the big thing, and like the presentation was awesome. Like Ben's presentation was amazing for dungeon run. So we're gonna need some element of that, some kind of crazy epic, I don't know, maybe single player aspect to it. But I don't have any idea what it could be. Like if there is a big announcement for Hearthstone, I have no idea what it could be. Like, if it's not tournament mode, then maybe they say, "Oh, just tournament mode was only shelved for like a week. It was shelved for a week. We're
They'll be
actually
like,
coming out with
psych! We worked
Exactly.
worked the whole time.
Exactly. Oh, we just wanted to get you. We just wanted you guys to be
Gotcha.
disappointed for a few weeks, and then we could like lift you
Debated.
all the way up, right? Debated. Yeah. No, I don't think that's what it's gonna be. But
I kind
oh
of doubt
shoot,
it
did I
as
not
well.
change the stream title? Sorry guys, I need to change the. My bad.
I kind of doubt it as well.
But yeah, I think that yeah, I'm hoping for something huge. I'm hoping for something huge mostly because I feel like they need something big. They need to announce something significant. If Artifact and just Magic obviously pushing right now is going to have a just a very big marketing promotion. I just feel like they should respond and not ignore it, right? But I guess we'll see. But BlizzCon will be fun. I know you're not going, so that's going to be too bad. But I'll definitely be there. Definitely look for me. The hsreplay.net guys, we'll all be there, and we'll be wearing hsreplay.net hoodies. Look for us. Definitely we'll have some goodies for you guys. We're doing a meetup for the first time too. So if you guys want to meet all of us on the Hearthstone team, that make HDT, Hearthstone Deck Tracker and hsreplay.net, we're gonna be doing a meetup Friday, and I'll definitely be posting just more details on it. But expect Friday night. You guys can just grab a drink with us or something. But otherwise, yeah, BlizzCon should be it's roughly in a month, and we'll definitely be seeing a lot of folks there. I guess next thing to talk about is we got the Hollow's End.
This is our town.
Sorry about that. The Hollow's End was announced, and we talked about last week, right? But it's actually the actual official post or the update came out. Even though the event hasn't started yet, the update came out, so we could actually see some of the new things. So getting a golden witch's cauldron, which makes sense given it's Halloween and everything. And then we get just the brawl, the dual class arena. Sorry, the dual class arena, which we talked about before, and then the whole headless tavern brawl. But I think everything else is pretty much what we talked about. There's the good old new player ranks and everything again. But so yeah, get ready for that. I had an issue with the mobile client again today. Yeah, the mobile client was kind of weird today. It said like my phone didn't have enough space, but then it went ahead and updated it. So I don't know what was going on there on my iPhone. It's a little bit strange. But lastly, let's see. The next thing I have here is choose your champion in fall, which you mentioned. So if you guys haven't done it before, during the HCT events, or at least the major ones like the championships, you can choose just who you want, that you think is going to get the furthest, and you get free packs from it.
And
So,
it's this weekend or is it already? No, it's next weekend.
next weekend, I believe. Yeah,
It would be I think too fast, right? This weekend.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's next weekend. I need to double check. It should be here, right? No, shoot. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I think it's next weekend, but here we go. Let me see. I just opened this. Let me figure it out while we do it. But yeah, so I haven't selected my champion. I figured I'd do it like here on air. And
I picked Tyler.
have you picked Tyler? Okay,
I
cool.
was saying yes.
Yeah, so it is next week, guys. It's next week.
I'm not gonna jinx anything.
So it's just between Sane and Tyler for me. I mean, no offense to the other guys, I just don't know I know Sento, of course, but the other guys I just don't know as well. But
Tyler's
man,
my
it's a
friend.
tough choice, man. My brain's saying Saya, my heart's saying Tyler, though. So, and I have been like ridiculously wrong with picking
My
my
friendship
champions.
says Tyler.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good friends with both, so it's like.
Sen is a bully.
Saiyan is a bully. He's your teammate, dude.
He's a
He's like
bully.
he's on your team. Oh my god.
He has to work for it.
He has to work for it.
He has to work for my
Oh
vote.
man. I mean so since you're going over Tyler, we gotta spread the love of Valley Time. I'm going.
They can both
I'm
win.
going Saiyan.
What are
Yeah.
you talking about? They're both gonna make it.
They're both sure. But one is going to get an extra pack though. I'm trying to optimize, dude. I got to get that extra pack when they meet in the finals. I'm picking.
Sane
the
is
guy.
on a run, man.
He
Sane
is.
like if Sane is not gonna win it, he's not just gonna make top 4. He's gonna win it.
Exactly, right? Yeah, so
It's
all right, my
ridiculous.
brain pick here. I usually pick my heart, so I know. I hope this pans out the way I hope it does.
I just
Just
assume
give me
most
3
people-
packs. I've never gotten 3 packs. I've never ever gotten 3 packs. So, man, I'm hoping Saiyan can bring me to the promised land. All right. So anyways, HCT champions, you definitely get ready for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got Metapulse. Why don't we talk about Metapulse last? I feel like it's probably a good timing to talk about the EU versus China tournament. So, man, this event, did you watch any of this by chance?
Yeah,
Did you
whenever
catch-
I could.
Yeah.
Because it is usually during my stream time, but
Yeah.
I was mainly watching the commercials. I have to admit. It's so...
What? I didn't. What? were the
Dude, the
commercials good?
Chinese events have always so cool, funny commercials.
Really?
about-
I didn't even pay attention to them when they were happening.
It's always so hilarious.
I mean, I caught a lot of VODs too, so I barely caught the live event itself. So I ended up watching the VODs. But man, that tournament. I mean, that tournament is done right. You know what I mean? Like, we need more of those tournaments. None of this subtle crap. You know what I mean? Like, go bold, big man. Go bold. Like, let's go ESGN again. Like, crazy. I mean, maybe not that level, but you know what I mean. Like, let's just go nuts in terms of.
That
like,
was my
super crazy.
biggest criticism about Blizzard when I did interview. It's just that they don't allow third-party organizers to host tournaments. It's just that China has these different rules and connections to Blizzard. That's why we see
Yeah.
so many Chinese tournaments like the Gold Leagues, and
Yeah.
there's so many China versus you. There's Titana League. There's so many events, right?
Right.
And this is after WCA and WCEC disbanded, kind of.
Mhm.
We still have so many Chinese events, and those are the only besides Seed Story Cup, and those are the fun events to watch. And I think Hearthstone should go that direction, like you said many
Yeah,
times.
just go
It's kinda
overboard, man. Let's
Yeah,
let's
it's a fun game, fun
yeah.
environment. It's awesome to watch. But
Yeah, I mean, at least have some of them like this. Right now, I think the issue is, every event just looks the same. It just feels the same, looks the same. It's like a tavern, or some type of wooden looking thing, with leather chairs and just whatever it is, and it all just kind of feels the same. And I think that with this, even the caster, the casters. One thing to mention is that Tice, set up the English stream. So we had, people like Dr. J and Gia and who else? Nostum maybe I think was casting a little bit of it too. Wait, was Nostum cast? So somebody else was casting it, and it was okay. It wasn't. It was definitely fine, like in terms of the casting and just it not being like there and live and heavily produced. But I don't know. I just the feeling of it all, like the feeling of the event, the prize is great. I mean, that's a huge part of an event. I think a lot of people underestimate the award ceremony and just like that whole element of it, like having it be the climax of an event. And I mean, the Aston Martin, having Tice go into it, sitting and taking pictures of it. I mean, that's such a great ending, even though we know he's not taking the car. We all know that. He's taking the money and not the car. But still, that's like an amazing marketing, element, and it's just things that we need, Like I feel like we just need to have that kind of energy in the Hearthstone space right now.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the prices are super sweet.
Look
Apparently,
at that, man.
Tice won like 160K.
God. Yeah.
Like,
which is like more than winning, almost more than, well, not more than winning, but it's almost as much as like being a world champ. Like it's crazy.
Tice is on the way to make his first million. Pretty sure he's close.
Yeah, he should be, right?
He got second at BlizzCon, right?
Yeah, but that BlizzCon was like worth nothing. Wasn't worth as nearly as much, right?
Did he get like 100K also at least?
Was it a 250? Maybe it was 250 at the time. 'Cause the first one was 100, right?
Yeah, I mean, also his stream is not like small.
No, forget the streaming side. We're talking about career earnings, right? Like prize winnings. Yeah, he's up there. He's definitely he's probably 500K at least, right?
Esportsearnings.com.
Yeah, exactly. No, but what was cool about Tice winning too is the whole thing about good guys finish last. Good guys win here because Tice was the one that set up the English stream in the first place. And went out of his way just to allow folks over here to actually be able to understand some kind of just have some kind of commentary that we could all understand and enjoy while watching the matches. So he kind of went he went out of his way being a player and setting that up, and then on top of that he ended up winning. Which, did you watch the matches, dude? Did you watch the semis and the finals?
Only a little bit, not everything. Like, it was mainly tracking scores and stuff.
Okay. Well,
I saw something crazy happening in the very last game.
I think the last two. I feel like Zhao Ti is who Tice ended up playing in the finals, and it was hard to. I mean, I'd have to like look at it a little bit more and a lot longer, but. There was definitely the game before, he definitely missed the line, didn't realize that there was a line with Alexstrasza, right? That Tice had Alexstrasza and lethal the following turn, and he could have prevented it, which I don't know if that would have solidified a win, like almost like a high % chance that Zhao Ti wins the match on that one. But that was one play, and then the very end, right? Like the very end of that match, there was definitely a really big key play that Zhao Ti, I feel like misplayed. Like I feel like he had a chance to win. It was I think it was not going face. He traded, right? I think he traded at one point when he could have gone face.
In half a trade, and then he was one damage off.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Zhao Ti could have won that. If I'm looking back at it. A couple times actually. I think either of those plays, because with the Alexstrasza one, he could have hunters marked. I think it was the 5/5 and just removed, basically removed it so that it wouldn't be lethal even with Alexstrasza. So yeah,
he still got into the finals with freaking Odd Hunter.
That's true, dude. The Odd Hunter was. That last matchup with Tempo Mage was so funny, dude.
Smart.
It was completely hilarious because the casters were like, "Oh, 100%, like Tice has this, right?" Because he's got the Mana Worm, Arcanologist, and
these people play Tempo Mages as Odd Hunter for that thing that Tice is sitting on in this picture. This is unbelievable. Welcome to 2000.
I know, dude. The hero power for the Odd Hunter almost won the game for him. It was so funny. But
imagine you drive through the streets on this car and then someone asks you how did you get this car? I was playing Face Hunter.
They're like, what is
Smart
that?
turn 5 lethal, dude.
They'd probably high five him, man. That's the way it goes. I don't know if I'd pick that color though, for my Aston, but
Come on, dude.
it's a guy. You got to be.
You're very picky.
I don't. What would you even call that color? I don't even know what color that is. Like, do you have any idea what color that is? That's not even jade, man. I mean, if you're gonna go jade, this is China,
jade.
right? You should go jade, right? Is that jade?
That's Jade Golem right there.
Yeah, that's Jade Martin. Yeah, that should be the new meme. Jade Martin. But anyways, congrats to Tice for winning that. That's like, again, like amazing accomplishments for him. I mean, he hasn't won a tournament in a long time. Like I don't even remember the last time Tice won a tournament. Like when was that?
I don't remember the last time Tice played a tournament.
I mean,
he played he's playing only playoffs, right? I think.
Yeah, prelims and yeah. I mean, he's
those...
trying. It's not like he's not doing ACT. He's just not going crazy, traveling all the events and stuff like that. So, anyways, good to see him win, and yeah, hopefully, it just kudos to the folks that organized the EU versus China event, and hopefully we can get NA in there next time. It's not just EU. We need it. Has there ever been an EU versus NA versus China tournament? It's always two of them, right? It's always some combination of two.
China's always to the schedule, like when is because every year there's NA versus China and EU versus China, right?
Yeah.
Or do they switch from year to year?
I think they switch. I think they. I don't know if it's year to year they switch, but I think they alternate just between NA and EU.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyways, why don't we talk about the game a little bit? We've been obviously talking about everything around the game, so it might be good to take a quick look at power rankings like we always do. Not too much change here. I mean, I think mostly that the mage went up. Tempo mage has been more popular lately, maybe because of Tice and how he was doing on stream. I don't know, but the last day or so, it's definitely gone up. And warrior come down a little bit. Again, it's not too much. I think the biggest mover was priest dropped, like almost over a percent to 45-ish area, where it was like a 47% last week. So people, I guess, not playing that big priest anymore, getting tired of that.
And tempo mage going up is definitely bad for priest because it's countering priest hard.
Yeah, that's true. You can still win sometimes, but yeah, it's not easy.
Sometimes that means it counters it hard.
Basically, if you get Malagus and then you can Spirit Lash, that's like the only way you win.
How do you get Malagus when you're dead?
Well, yeah.
Like you die turn 6, and this is where you can get Malagus.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, yeah, I can usually survive past turn 6. All right. But when it gets up there, it's definitely a lot tougher. I mean, I'm doing silly things, like Eternal Servituding like 2/3 drops, doing stupid things just to try to offload some damage. But it is a pretty rough matchup. Class popularity, just basically at Hunter and Rogue switch places, pretty much nothing. Again, this is just a product of it just being very stagnant, and things aren't moving. You can still have plenty of fun, with the decks if you haven't played them all. There's still like 25 viable decks. So hopefully you haven't played them all. You can still play it differently. But the meta's just not moving very much. The meta's pretty much solidified for the most part. So we're kind of waiting. And again, that's kind of why we need some change here. Here's some decks to maybe check out that are good right now. Let me move these off and. Yeah, these are always a little bit more interesting just to see. So Even Shaman, actually most of the week we saw Even Shaman. At least if you go to the meta page right now, you'll see that Even Shaman's been on top pretty much the last week, solid. Sometimes by itself, sometimes with a couple other decks. So in terms of today, at least, it's kind of dropped down a tiny bit compared to some of these other. Mildred, still good. It's been always good. We just talked about Tempo Mage, Quest Rogue. Like it's no difference. Death Rattle Hunter. So. Wow, like Death Rattle Hunter, why is that good right now? What's
Some people had finishes. I think it's the whole rotation. It's like people played mainly Secret Hunter, and then you go Bark Warrior to counter it because there's like a lot of Odd Rogues, there's a lot of Tempo Mages, and then we are back to Death Rattle Hunter beating Druids and beating Odd Warriors. It's just like, but then like in 1 or 2 weeks, probably next week, Death Hunter will be bad because people play Secret Hunter again and
Yeah,
just counters to it. And
just the
more
same
to
cycle.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, so I mean, check out any
I
of
mean,
these.
it was one of the best decks, right? Like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Which one? Death Rattle Hunter or
Death
Secret?
Death Rattle.
Yeah, I mean, Death Row's always been like right in that high two, tier 2, and then like you said, when it's the right moment in the cycle, it goes up to tier 1.
I think
then
it's
it'll drop
because
off.
Druid is also so popular, mainly because of that.
Mhm.
Like as soon as Druid gets a little bit too popular, then people come back with the Death Rattle Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, like Tiago earlier posted one, like literally add a day to this, add October 1st instead of October 2nd. If you add a day of it, then like Taunt Druid is like the top thing. So it's kind of crazy just how different it can be, just even adding one day to the meta and taking a look at what the win rates are. But
And
but
none
yeah.
of these decks are like fun to play against, except maybe even Shaman.
I mean, what do you mean? Like,
To play against them, it's just never fun, no matter what deck you play. I feel like.
no, I mean, it's fun playing Tempo Mage if you're like Baku Warrior. If you're actually
Yes, if you're super hard counter it.
yeah, if you super hard counter it. But yeah, these are typically the tempo decks are super solid. So yeah, if you're not countering it, then you're likely going to be at a disadvantage. The Death Rattle Hunter, I don't think is. I mean, it can be frustrating, but I don't know. I feel like it's definitely got pockets where it can lose, or at least the number of decks that beat it. But I agree with definitely Mill Druid and Quest Rogue. We've definitely talked a lot about those decks in the past. So yeah, anyways, go check that out, or go to hsreplay.net. Go check out the meta tab. See just what's the best deck to play at your rank and region, and just snag one of those decks there, because you'll be definitely killing it if you start playing that. All right, we're cruising, man. We are definitely cruising, but at this point, definitely want to let folks know, like I did earlier, that this episode is actually sponsored by Magic the Gathering Arena, guys. If you haven't seen all the streamers already playing it, obviously the beta is out right now, so definitely go check it out, mtgarena.com. And if you like Hearthstone, you're gonna like Magic the Gathering too. And I never played the original. I've never played Magic the Gathering, like the card game itself. And I was gonna try Magic the Gathering online when it was out way before, but I don't know. There's just something about it. It just didn't look very good. So I never really got a chance to get into it. So Magic the Gathering Arena is really my first endeavor into Magic. Like, really learning the game, and it's been really fun. I have to say, I feel like this version of a digital Magic MTG is, I think, obviously the best one I've seen. And the feelings of it, I don't know if you've played it, Gaara, at all. Have you played the beta at all?
I really want to play it, and
Okay.
I already downloaded it.
Yeah.
And I made an account, and I will probably stream it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to play Magic, but I
Oh,
never
you
got
haven't
into
either. Oh, you haven't played Magic either. I didn't know that.
No,
Oh, wow.
but I couldn't afford it. That was
Yeah,
the only reason.
exactly. I know your pain for sure. Like, there was at one point as my friends were trying to get me into it, and I was like, okay, I'll take a look at it. And then I looked, and it's just like, damn, dude, that's like a lot of money. You gotta sink into it, man. I remember Day 9 telling me at one point when it was like a few years ago, that he would save like $1,000 a week just to like feed his Magic like budget or something. I was like, what the hell? Are you serious? That's like ridiculous amount of money. And yeah, so anyways, that really kept me from getting into it before. But now, with MTG Arena, there's gold like Hearthstone. A lot of stuff is very tailored like Hearthstone. There's quests that get you gold. You can buy packs with it. Just the feelings of it, like the tutorial and everything, just getting into it, like me being a complete noob, it's been really good. I think the feelings of the game or the actual mechanic of the game actually feel really good. The hitting of the face, with the cards and things like that. And if you've never played Magic and you've been like an organic Hearthstone player like myself, like our first card game Hearthstone, then like the elements of it, which you see some of it in Artifact too, is like very different. The interaction between the players is so different, and makes you think about a card game in a different way, not necessarily better or worse, but just definitely a different way. And it's been refreshing to see that. And then, dude, the draft mode and the sealed mode. Oh man, those are really really fun. Like I have to say. The draft mode, particularly the sealed mode, I just haven't really gotten to do too much there. But the draft mode definitely has been great, and I've watched some other folks play it too, and it's been cool. Right now I don't have any card. I literally lost like 3 times in a row. Like my first 3 ladder games have been all losses like in a row. So like I don't have any cards. Like I've only opened like about 2-3 packs. So I don't even know what's possible. So I'm in that mode where I'm just kind of trying things out, and I have to admit, dude, I kind of like it. I like just being able to, it's okay to. I don't really care about losing or not. It's just like trying to, get a feel for it. I mulliganed like 5 times the very first time I played. I'm like, oh wait, I lose a card every time I mulligan. What the hell? Just doing dumb shit like that. But it's really fun though. It's definitely a lot of fun. And again, you guys download it for free, mtgarena.com, and try it out. Long-time arena, Magic players, I think you guys will be really happy. Once you guys get a chance to play it and experience it. So big shout out to them. And I'm sure a lot of streamers that you watch normally have been playing it. So not a surprise, probably. Okay. Well, let's see. What are we talking about next here? God, we just flew through this. We didn't have that much to talk about. I might have a lot of time for like questions today, but why don't we go into like maybe one of the questions that pretty juicy one. Jason R actually had a question, which was, okay, so what are your thoughts on tides and delay? The kind of conversation they had on Twitter like about a week ago. He thought we were going to talk about last week, but we never talked about it. But just
conversation.
Yeah, it was just generally the whole. I think Ty just made a bold statement about people playing together online and cheating and the whole and things like deck tracker came up and things like that. So obviously a kind of a touchy subject to some degree, but I think it's worth talking about. I think that at least getting our opinions on it. So what's your take on all that? Like, what's your take on a very strong statement like that from Tides?
I mean, I always had a problem with it because I always played ladder myself. Maybe because that put me in a disadvantage because I didn't play together like other people. For me, like a card game was always like a 1v1 game, and I know as a fact that most ladder finishers don't play alone. Like the majority.
Yeah.
It's not like the minority. The majority of people do that.
Yeah.
So almost all the consistent top 20 legend ladder finishers are playing together in a group and boost each other, and that's pretty lame if you're a competitor and you're alone. And
yeah,
the another issue is like that the most points for preliminaries you get through ladder, so that's the majority of points. And since it's so tight and it's so competitive, so many people like playing together and taking up most of the spots. It feels unfair for sure. I mean, it is basically sportsmanship in a way. It is not illegal because it's like clever abuse of game mechanics. You can spectate someone. You can't forbid someone to spectate you, right? Or be with you in a Discord call,
right?
And then talk with you while playing the game. It's like, but they're just playing together and boosting each other.
Yeah,
it's like you queue a ladder game and you face 15 pro players. In one game.
Yeah.
That's just not cool.
But it's even blatant when it's like streamed too, and it's like,
what's also crazy? There's a lot of people that get high legend finishers that are notorious stream snipers. They don't tend to stream snipe the big streamers to get a bad reputation. They go down to the streamers that try to make a name for themselves, that have like 100 viewers, 50 viewers,
really?
but they're still high legend. Yes.
Wow.
It's super. Many people do that. Many. That's like very, very common. And it's just, man, like the people that finish, are they really like the best players? Because a majority of people are doing that. Like they either play together, and there's like a bunch of stream snipers. If you think about it, like you're top 50 legend, and because so many people camp, especially at the end of the season, if you stream snipe 3 times and the problem is really the polarization of matchups. If you see someone stream Baku Warrior on High Legend, you stream snipe him with Questroke or with Shadowwalk Shaman. It's just worth it. If he gets 3 wins on top 50 Legend, suddenly he's top 10 Legend and he can camp top 20.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. So it's very tempting for people to do it. I don't know that are not streaming.
It's the risk of streaming. It is one of the downsides of streaming without a delay, right? Or just not switching. And I mean, it comes with the territory, at least with stream sniping, in my opinion. But
I think it's because of the game state, right? If matchups wouldn't be so polarized and we wouldn't have so many of those polarized matchups, I don't think that would be.
Well, you could overcome it, right? You could overcome a slight disadvantage.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
you could just outplay them or whatever.
Yeah. But again, regardless, that's been there forever. It's like stream at your own risk. It's just, you're going to have to deal with that no matter what. But in terms of go ahead.
I don't care. Like the stream sniping is like their own risk, right? A lot of the streamers are having like a delay at the end, but it's more like the playing together factor.
Yeah, playing together is a whole different story, and I think the playing together part. I mean, a lot of people make arguments. There's co-op streams that are entertaining. And people playing together and that social element of it. But I think you hit the nail on the head, which is because it has to do with the competitive, just the HCT side of things. And, the fact that it's not being policed, there's nobody that's not going to say that playing as a group is not, is not like unfair or just a form of, I don't want to say cheating because cheating is such a strong word, but it's definitely, putting somebody at a disadvantage. Then, there's going to be very few people that disagree with that. But the fact that they can't police it is the main reason why it's allowed, it's just too hard to track and police. So having the ladder be such a big part of HCT, I think, is really I would say the fundamental, the real thing to talk about, because, having people qualify, in this kind of manner, is I think where it gets to be a little bit, controversial, in terms of having that happen and allowing it to happen, because the fact that everybody can do it isn't good enough, because everybody doesn't do it. Not everybody has this network of people that they can, just play together with or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I think that the question of what can they do, is probably a better question, to help with this situation. And, I think that's tough. What can they possibly do? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's ladder or if it's a tournament mode thing, or, I mean, what do they do?
That's not even the worst of it. You can actually even buy boosting services for high legend finishes. And I know a lot of known players that did that.
God. Okay, really?
And I don't want to be the one to exposing anyone, but I know that it's a thing that people do. And just knowing all these kind of things just demotivates you to compete.
But boosting services, I mean, if they're services, I mean, wouldn't you be able to figure out where they are? And wouldn't Blizzard be able to track that down? And, I
don't know why they don't do anything. It's
okay, well, I wasn't aware that this kind of stuff was going on. But if that is going on, then obviously, Blizzard should be on top of it a bit more.
I feel like Blizzard is not doing so much in the organized scene as much. Yes, they're doing these HCT tour stops, but if you have been to any of these HCT tour stops, they're usually not very well organized. And I don't know, I feel like they put in minimum amount of efforts in this whole competitive Hearthstone ladder. You can see with the ladder changes, the balance changes, we barely get it. And
we get big ones at the beginning of the year. They change it once a year, right? So that the whole year is consistent. So I think it's unfair. It's unfair to say that they haven't made changes. I mean, they are trying to make changes. It's just whether the changes are good or not, I guess, is debatable. But they do make changes. This year is way different than last year, in terms of, how the points are distributed and teams and this whole, tier system. But yeah, but I think the fundamental things that are still just kind of ongoing, we still haven't addressed. So I think that part is it's tricky. It's super tricky. Back in the day, right? Any type of competitive competitive game, whether it was like at the time StarCraft as an example, StarCraft 2, there were these people that would be accused of botting, right? Or map hacking. Like people would use map hacks, and the only way you could catch somebody would, somebody would have to do some crazy analysis of the replays to see if they're like flipping to like specific spots on the map for no reason, and then people would be outed that way. And, there was that was one way that people could catch them. But for the most part, in StarCraft 2, you had to prove that you were really a good player at a LAN. Like your online play was always just kind of like interpreted as only 50% of that you're actually a good player. If you went to a LAN and succeeded, then that would solidify you, like 100%. Okay, yeah, this guy's legit. He's definitely good. But we had a number of StarCraft 2 players that would kick ass on online, and they'd get to LAN and they would suck balls, like really, really bad. And then we could, definitely point out who were, the folks that were doing that. I don't know if Hearthstone has to be something like that too. I mean, but again, if you're qualifying for prelims,
it's most of
tough.
These people that qualify for prelims that way, not ever making it.
Yeah.
But they always go to prelims. But they just take like spots from other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah. So anyways,
it is what it is.
Yeah. It kind of, unfortunately, yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like that's really the current environment. And, I don't know I don't know how to like really what to advise people to do, but that is how it is. And, choose what you want to do, let's see. The next question we have is from Ahmed. He says, I'm restricted to my phone to play Hearthstone for a week. So to prepare, I build Odd Rogue, Odd Pally, and Zoo, which are all aggro decks. What would you recommend as mobile decks? That's actually an interesting question. I've never thought about that before in terms of, because I just play whatever decks I have on PC on my phone normally. But I can see why there would be specific decks that are more conducive to mobile devices and playing, that in that fashion. So yeah, I mean, I guess let's think about that. What kind of decks would be better, is better suited for the tablet experience, of dragging stuff and maybe less real estate?
I mean, it's actually easy. It's always like faster decks because Hearthstone drains a lot of battery. And if you play like Control Warrior, it will like, after 3 games, your battery will be empty. Also, like, you have to consider where you're playing from, right? If you're like playing while waiting for the bus and you start an Odd Warrior game, I'm pretty sure you're not going to finish your game.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, sure. I mean, so I wasn't really thinking about in terms of time wise, more so.
Yeah, but
just
like it's
form
realistic.
Factor. Yeah,
it's not realistic like that you're gonna sit on your bed next to your computer playing Hearthstone just to make it more difficult for yourself.
I agree. Like, I think
it's somewhere like in the gym or like while traveling or whatever.
Yeah, like if you're like running on the treadmill or you're like riding a bike or whatever, like which one, what deck do you want to? So you're basically saying you should play aggro decks just because they're faster games. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from a time standpoint, I totally agree. I think that's actually very good logic. And
I mean, I speak from my own experience because I played Hearthstone on in the gym and on the treadmill many times as well. And it's just like I start playing like a Control Warrior Mirror. It's just it takes too long.
It takes too long, and
I mean 10 miles.
The battery drain is the same, right? It doesn't matter how many games you play.
Yeah, but then usually if you play from the phone, it's like you want to play a few games. You don't want to like play for 6 hours straight.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think he's built the right decks, and another thing too is just like it just takes longer to drag. I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but man, the first time you drag and you actually hit a minion instead of the face, and it costs you a game, you are like super careful. Like from there on out, you're going around all the cards to hit his face. Like if you watch anybody that plays on mobile these days, especially like streamers, they'll go all the way around, and hit the face, and that just takes longer. You know what I mean? So that just means you have even less time to really figure out what your plays are going to be. So APM priest. Somebody said APM priest. That would be the complete opposite, of course, of what you should be building for mobile. But yeah, so that's faster deck's definitely the better. That's a cool question though. I never really asked it. When Hearthstone first came out, I thought that the tablet experience was the most natural for the game. Like it felt like it I don't know. It kind of felt like you're kind of dragging cards, so it kind of felt that way. But I think over time, I definitely have changed my mind on that. PC is still the best experience. Okay, any other questions, guys? Like, definitely ask away in Twitch chat, or you can tweet at us, ValueTownGG at just at ValueTownGG. But in the meantime, want to thank some of our supporters, as always, the patrons at ValueTown or patreon.com/ValueTown. You can make a pledge. It helps us with doing the show each and every week. And we've had a lot of people, support us for a while, and just always want to spend some time. Thank these folks. So, Mike T, our legendary producer, and Raydan, Bryce L, Old Man Riv, Johnson C, Vince F, Alex F, Michael O, Graham S, 2 Kid, Risa, Michael S, Bradley M, Junipi, I think is how you pronounce it, and Mario P, Kevin G. So thanks so much, guys. And let's just to name a few, if you guys are worried about us not calling out your name, we will definitely get to it. If it's not next week, it's the week after. We definitely got a number of supporters, so really appreciate you guys. Okay, so the box one asks, do you think Ixar will take the feedback he asked for seriously? Do you expect changes prior to next expansion? So which feedback? You mean the wild feedback? I mean, they asked for wild feedback, right? Did they ask us for any other feedback? I'm not even did they ask for any other feedback outside of wild?
I think it was like a general term, but I think it was most wild specific, if you remember correctly.
I mean, they outright asked us what we think we should do with wild, because they disagreed internally. So,
but I always feel like the community is giving way too much feedback all the time. It's so weird asking for feedback when people are giving, whenever you go to Reddit, there's so many posts all the time, especially in competitive Hearthstone subreddit. It's kind of like a slap in the face. It's like people give feedback for years, all the time, because that's all they feel like they can do. And then if Blizzard comes out and be like, yeah, how about you guys give us some feedback? But the people are doing that. I can see it everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
it's there, but it's hard to actually sift through all of it. So I definitely I don't envy the person that has to go through Reddit every single day on their team and figure out what to get back.
But people talk about it on streams. There's so much YouTube content, so many YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So the content is there. It's like saying, guys, give us some competitive Hearthstone feedback, like balance changes.
Well, I think what the box one was meaning, he kind of clarified there, is like Zalay's video. Remember we talked about Zalay's video and how he just kind of went step by step through each of the things that are happening. I think they're going to definitely listen to the feedback and take it into consideration. But I think that the question is whether it's too late. Like as much as we do know, as much transparency as they have given us with their process, I still don't think we have 100% understanding of their actual release process. Like if they wanted to change something, can they change something without having to plan it weeks in advance? If they wanted to change something right now, could it be changed before BlizzCon? I don't know if they can. It's hard for me to say. So, but do I think that anything's going to change? I personally, outside of maybe Wild or something like that, I don't think anything's going to change. And
they mentioned there's no changes till expansion.
Oof. Yeah. Or they didn't say specifically there'd be none, but they said that there was nothing that they were considering, at least, which I think we can interpret it as that. So so I don't think it's going to change. That's why I'm kind of just hoping that something big's announced at BlizzCon, so at least we can talk about it for another month. You know what I mean? Because right now, we've got another 4 weeks of, or 3.5 weeks of a lot of the same thing going on right now. So, yeah, I mean, they listen to feedback. I don't know if they'll be able to change it though in time. At least this time around. Do you think there will be tournament mode in 2020 by Karo Mitsu? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say that there will be a tournament mode by 2020.
This reminds me of the Frozen quote in 2020. Hearthstone will be great, a great game.
Yeah, I remember that
years.
quote.
He said that like in 2016 or something. Or
No, he said that like last year. Yeah, he said that last year. Yeah, he said that last year. He said that, I think, during the whole Gwen thing, right? Like when Life Coach was leaving, and was that last year, or is that 2016?
But Life Coach left like longer than 1 year.
Is that 2016? God, I don't know, man. I'm like,
2 years.
Yeah, maybe it was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. But no, I remember that. I mean, it isn't. The game is better. I mean, it definitely is better. It's just, I think that for the first time, we are seeing significant competitors coming like into the space, and we haven't seen that before. Like we definitely have. We've seen Gwent's come along, we've seen Magic Online come along, I guess maybe Yu-Gi-Oh and to a degree, but we've never seen anything that really threatened the market share of Hearthstone. And I think but I think Artifact and Magic the Gathering Arena present that challenge at the same time too. It's not even one at a time. They're actually coming out for the most part at the same time, and we'll have to see how Hearthstone responds to that, or how Team 5 responds to that, or how everything's just kind of like how the smoke kind of settles a bit. Hearthstone's the incumbent, right? So it's the hardest to actually take users away, from something that people already enjoy playing, and a lot of people still enjoy playing it, no matter how many people complain about it, or even we complain about it, like on the show, just about just the lack of change. I mean, the game's still fun for every, like 98%, 99% of the people that play it. So, I think that, we'll have to see. Some of these games, like Artifact, just throwing it out, everybody like talking about Artifact and loving it. It's going to be expensive. It's not going to be friendly to casual players from that standpoint. So, what are they going to do about that? Like we're going to have to see what happens there. Magic's a little different. Magic, has that whole free to play aspect to it. You can just earn gold and you can buy packs that way. But yeah, so I think that once that beta comes out, it'll be really interesting. But we've seen Savitz stop playing now, right? Like Savitz like outright just stopped playing Hearthstone. Yeah, he like officially, not even waiting, he's just officially stopping and playing Hearthstone indefinitely. So that's a major streamer that's just said that he's not playing it anymore. And I think that his case is kind of like you talking about a little bit, which is he's exhausted everything that he can possibly do with just what's available in the game at this moment. Outside of playing Arena, he probably could play Arena to the Crypt levels, and the Hafu levels maybe, because he obviously isn't that good, at Arena yet or whatnot. But in terms of standard, he just feels like he's exhausted everything. And we're talking about Savitz, who plays like all kinds of decks. He literally plays every crazy deck you can possibly do. Streamer like Sky's Toast level, type of decks. But so he kind of feels like he's exhausted it. So that's kind of why we just need some change. Just to even add that ability to keep folks going. Box Wine, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Any other questions here? I think we have one up here. So Paul Chuck. Any chance you guys could discuss Hypno's, or Panchulk, discuss Hypno's even Paladin deck that he played in HCT Oslo last weekend? He made it to top 4 and had good results with the deck in particular. Is it ladder viable? Okay, so let me bring this up. Yeah, I'll link it to you, dude. Let me bring this up. It must be really different, man, if you're... Okay, oh wow. Okay, this is pretty different. Oh, sorry. Can we get that off the screen? There we go. All right, so we've got... Oh, man. Okay, we've got Argent Protectors. We got, Crystal Smith Kangor. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. There's a lot of stuff in this.
Mhm. This is probably why I saw it on HS Replay as well.
Yeah. It's hard, man. To be honest, it's hard to judge until you play it, you know?
I think
Like,
it's pretty good.
talk
It's
about the
okay.
things that you think are, like, any
No,
plays you can
I
kind of
play a
see,
lot of
or...
Even Paladin. I also played Even Paladin today. It's just that Even Paladin is very interesting because it can deal with decks like Even Warlock, which is a very popular deck right now because
Mhm.
like people like show stream it a lot and a lot of people went high legend with it.
Yeah.
It's like an aggressive deck, but it can deal with big threats better than other aggressive decks, I feel like.
Well, it's got the pyro in here too.
Yeah, you have Pyro
So,
Equality,
yeah. And true
Equality
silvers,
Consecration.
and
You have
yeah.
like the Sun Keepers, but you have also healing, and you have the oozes to contest like Odrogs. It's just interesting.
Hmm.
It's like very bad against like eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Anything
But
tricky? Yeah.
it's an okay deck, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't look to me to be crazy strong. Just mostly
It's
because
okay.
it just doesn't have,
Like
like, it
if you
doesn't have a
compare it to
huge
Even
plays.
Shaman,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not that much worse.
to even shaman.
Yeah.
I mean, the big plays are still at 6, right? Like, these two plays seem to be huge. True Silver and Glass Knight have some synergy together. Chill Blade. I guess if you're going against, some like tempo mage or something, Chill Blade with like a Blessing of Kings and get you some healing immediately. Corpse Taker's obviously a solid play. Just make it on 4. But yeah, there's just all the great decks these days have giant plays. Like, they're amazing synergy combos, whether it's for value or it's just for crazy tempo. They all have those type of plays, and this one doesn't. I mean, even just like Tarum, there's no way to build a deck super fast outside of like Chain Gang and I guess your hero power can, like, it's cheaper, but yeah, I don't know. It's it looks like at least a mid tier deck though. Doesn't look bad for sure, but he got to the top 4 with this. Wow, that's crazy. It just shows you, right? It just shows you can play different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
What?
won? Who won Oslo? I'm not saying
Let's
didn't
see.
win. Feels certain.
That's a good question. Let me see. That is definitely one tournament we didn't have on the talking points today, just
Yeah,
because
because
we
it
didn't see
happened
it.
kind of at the same time as
Yeah.
China versus EU, and it was just huge.
Yeah, let me see. Well, surprise, surprise, that the site doesn't have any brackets on it.
Yeah, it's just so.
And I have to look on Wikipedia. Okay, it looks like Saiyan finished second.
Yeah,
I mean, didn't win, but he finished second. Damn.
yeah, that's what I said.
Damn. It's like it's like a $1,000 difference too in prize pool. But it looks like Zuhex ended up winning from Spain. So yeah, congrats to him. Who else was in here? Oh, Hoy made it to top 8. It's a Hide too. Pretty cool. Okay,
He lost to Sane, by the way.
who?
Hoy.
Hoy? Yeah. Well, I haven't seen Hoy too much this year, but last year he had a crazy good year. So this year, a little bit less success, but I think we all know that Hoy is a really good player. Okay,
It's just too many.
what was that?
It's just too many competitive players. Like too many good players. It's like not all of them can win.
Well, not all of them can win, but it's really eye opening when we literally see Saiyan in top 4 like every
yeah,
single week. I mean, that's saying something, for sure.
That's Sane.
Saying, it's just saying, man. I'm just saying. That's such a great name, dude. There's so many different puns you can do off of his name. It's so good, so smart, man. Okay, any other questions, guys? Let's see. What would you guys like to? Samson Live asked, what would you guys like to see changed in Wild that you would play it? Whoa. What would I like to see in Wild that I
Big
would
prize
play?
pools, a world championship. How about the world championship?
No. No, definitely not that.
Such a hero.
I
No.
don't, to be honest, like I don't even know. Like,
Just
um, I'm not even sure what I'm looking for in Wild. Like I just kind of think of Wild
Man, if
as,
Wild would be fun, I don't know how much fun Wild is.
I mean, for me, I just think of Wild like it's like when a new expansion comes out or when a new year comes out. Like the first time you play Wild, it's like that. It's like everything's new, but then everything gets figured out just like eventually, just like it does in standard. It's just there's more cards. So, yeah, it's probably even more stagnant because those cards never change. Like you're always added. It's more additive. Like the set's always additive. It's never you never remove anything or anything like that. So yeah, I mean I to be honest, I don't know you can do anything with Wild. Like it. I think if Wild should just be like quick play. In other games, just have it be just play it real quick and just have all your cards be able to play it and so be it. Well, Wild kind of allows you to play other formats too, right? Like Lord of the Arena stuff, outside of having more than two. And you still have the restrictions of that, but at least you can play every other card, every card, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's the main thing. I mean, if you want to add formats, you should add like, you should add sealed, like you should add things like that. I think those are some formats that they could think about adding to the game, and have it be a bit different. Sealed's kind of lost its momentum, since the Red Bull Seal tournament. Like, what do you think about Sealed right now? There was a time where all the players were playing, money matches, cash matches with Sealed, right? But does that
I
still
said
happen?
like Hearthstone should go towards that direction, more fun formats.
Are people
I like
people playing
I think
Sealed?
that was
Like,
cool. Like
those
also like the whole Tempo Storm, what was it called? Challenge Stone?
no, it was the Red Bull thing, right? Or
Yeah,
you
but
are,
they also
oh,
did like
oh yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. That was the challenge stone was Crip and Ranya's thing, right?
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we need in Hearthstone, like just fun events, fun formats.
Fun formats.
Yeah, fun stuff. Just I don't know, like legendaries, only minions and whatnot. I don't know. It's random formats, like people you want to watch.
Yeah,
Then yeah, or like Seed Story Cup. So Seed Story Cup is also super entertaining. Like you
yeah,
can still have like a competitive format, but just make everything around it fun.
yeah, yeah.
It's because Hearthstone is not that super serious as a game. It's not like StarCraft. And you know, it's like they should just make it more fun. It's like, man, I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, general sentiments. I agree with you. Yeah, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for trying all kinds of different things, and we've seen a little bit of it. Like Tempest Storm did the whole history of Hearthstone tournament thing, right? Where that you could play in a different expansion or something. Like you build decks in the different expansions, and we've seen I mean, what's another example? I don't even. Has there been anything else recently? Uh, Maybe not. Maybe the sealed thing is like the last time. I mean, the biggest difference that we'll get is last man standing versus conquest, right? That's like the only difference that we see. And yeah, we should really try something else. We've talked about different like RDUs on here, right? Like we definitely talked about different formats and having a whirl at some of them.
Yeah, the audio format. What was it called?
But God,
Cool. Was it cool?
no, it's not
There was a
cool.
different.
It's not called cool. No way.
No, cool. Like you have like this veto.
It's a one word thing. It's called.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in the chat knows. Like, what's it called, guys? What was RDU's the format called? Strike.
Strike
Yeah, that's what
format.
it is. Yeah, strike.
That was a
So,
good format.
yeah, I mean, I think it's something.
But
That's
right now the tournaments format, like Conquest or LHS, are not bad right now. Like Hearthstone is good for tournament play right now. It's just horrible for ladder play.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. You think streamers would play in old school third party invitational tournaments again?
Wow,
Do you
that's a
think they
good
would?
question.
Do you think they would? Like, would you?
I would still go to Seed Story Cup, yes.
Well, no. If
Like,
I okay,
because
let's put
it's
it
not
this way.
for me to
If
imagine an
if I
imaginary.
let's put it this way. If I
I would have
dust
went to EU versus China as well, yeah.
if I dusted off deck wars, and we did that sort of type of thing again, would streamers do that again? If the prize pool is obviously enough, it's not like nothing like it used to be, you know.
It's hard to say because like we don't have it. It's like
$10,000 tournament. Let's say $9,999 tournament.
Probably,
Yeah,
probably, but
yeah.
it wouldn't be consistent. And then once that is over, we would be back in the same spot, right? And then people would still think
Yeah,
like,
but that's kind of like Batstone, right? Batstone happened, everybody loved
Yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
months go by, and then another thing, right? Like
Yeah.
it'd be similar, just similar to that. Like, would streamers do that? That's really the question. I guess if they could still stream it, they would probably be okay, right? Or I don't know. Like I'm trying to think like, would they even do it? Like,
I think, yeah, maybe not people like Crib, but others, sure. Yeah, because
yeah, what are the
everything
two
is more
for-
fun than ladder. Of course they would.
right?
It's just that,
I think so.
like
I mean,
the biggest thing is ladder, right? Ladder kind of sucks. It's super boring.
right.
That's, I think, the biggest issue with Hearthstone.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I still
Yeah,
think that
definitely,
it's a possibility.
I was
It's really
also thinking
yeah,
today
yeah.
because the WECG qualifier happened.
hmm
The Canada qualifier happened, and I think Impact qualified. That is something like I looked at it at the website, and I'm like, yeah, that's something I would do. I was kind of like excited for it. Like as soon as there's like my region is a qualifier for WCG, definitely I would play in that. It's just that this whole ladder thing is just so boring. Like whenever I log into Hearthstone, there's really not much to do, right? Tavern Brawl, I did Tavern Brawl last week, and it was so boring, and most people agreed. It was not. It didn't feel like it was made as a. It's not. It wasn't fun. It's like it was the 6 cards.
Which one? 6 cards? 6 card meta?
Yeah, build a deck
6
with
cards?
6 cards.
Oh, okay. 6 card
And
meta.
everyone is
Okay.
playing these OTK decks that just OTK you with 4 mana. And you got the quest with like win 5 games in Tavern Brawl. And dude, this was like the most anti-fun thing I ever had. It's like you played your OTK deck versus their OTK deck, and whoever drew the combo first. And you only had the 6 card deck. It was so stupid.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't know if you played it. It was so bad.
I mean, okay, so I didn't play the 6 card one, but I played the 2 and 3 card one, and I actually enjoyed the 2 and 3 card one. Like,
Or the DK one where everyone played Jaina
okay,
and
that
didn't
was-
play anything.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
the
that's
one
different.
after that was even
That's
worse.
the DK. Yeah, okay. The DK one, we established that Jaina was like the best thing, right?
Yeah, but the 6 card
But-
one was worse than that.
Yeah, but okay, I don't know.
Isn't that supposed
Maybe
to
I
be
didn't
fun?
experience it. I didn't experience the OTK aspect of it, but I mean, there's this whole discovering the meta part of it. That's fun, right? Like, if it's a complete new meta, isn't it fun? I mean, you're gonna lose, like, of course, but that's not the point of it. The point isn't just to like.
I
There's
think
not
the
very
point
much
is
complexity
for it to be
to it.
fun.
Well, no, well, okay. The point of it obviously is to be fun, but the point of having like a 6 card meta isn't so much about gameplay as it is figuring out, what the superior deck is. You know what I mean? It's like an exercise of figuring out like deck building. It's not an exercise in playing so much, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. That's how I look at like the 2 card, the 3 card, the Tavern Brawls. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, I need to find my 2 cards that are going to beat everybody else's 2 cards, and then once that's figured out, then obviously it's just boring after that. But while it's being figured out, it's kind of fun, to be able to do that. But again, I didn't play the 6-1, so maybe it was just like four turn games does sound pretty terrible to me. So if that's exactly what it was, then that's pretty bad.
It was super anti-fun.
Yeah. But anyways, like my point of asking the other thing was just that is streaming too much of a thing now? Like, are streamers is streaming too lucrative right now for people to not play in those tournaments?
I already talked about this in a great interview, Artifact interview.
Artifact interview. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I had so much fun doing that. It's like in Hearthstone, because the question arises is how important is it that if Artifact will be streamable or like
Yeah.
streamer friendly
Yeah, yeah.
as a card game, and because of like how Hearthstone is right now with like all the big streamers and stuff, and I immediately had to think about why people stream Hearthstone. It's just because you have to, like, because you make so little money with tournaments in Hearthstone. You can't self-sustain with tournaments in Hearthstone.
Well,
The only way to self-sustain in Hearthstone as a pro player, quote unquote, is basically through streaming. There's only like a handful of people that can live from tournament winnings, if they even could. I think they couldn't even. Even the best.
dude,
Okay,
Tice just won a year or
160K,
two's worth.
yes,
It could be some
yes.
people's 2 years worth of.
But
like,
how did he get to that tournament? Because he's famous.
yeah, true.
Like
Yep.
nobody else. Like if you are like just a pro player, how you wouldn't get invited? I didn't get invited. I never got invited to you versus China. I'm not,
Yeah,
not
but
trying to
that's, I
be
mean,
salty
that's
here.
how it is. It's just like saying like,
Yeah, but that's
some
what I'm saying.
struggling
It's like
actor not getting hired
people
for
stream
Avengers.
Hearthstone.
You know,
Yes,
it's like,
Hearthstone is a great stream game, but you kind of have to stream it. Like
Yeah.
else, how do you make a living if you're like trying to be like, you know? So in Dota, it's different, and I compare it with that. It's like because the pro players win so much money through tournaments, they don't rely on the streaming income. This is why we don't really know big Dota 2 streamers. You
right.
don't really
So
have to be big streamers to make an income. So if Artifact will be similar, like let's say Artifact has like there's like rumors it will be weekly tournaments. Imagine there's like weekly 10K tournaments. That's such a different like environment. Like you're like, okay, you sit down, you're like, okay, there will be 4 tournaments I can participate in every month. Most of them will be like online qualifier, or all of them will be online qualifier. So what if I get like, I don't know, 5th place, whatever, in one of them and get like 2K? That's kind of like a salary. So you don't have to stream. So the game doesn't have to be streamable to be successful. Like how do you define a successful game?
I mean, I know what you. I definitely know your argument there, and definitely a lot of it. It makes sense from a standpoint of like your average player, you know, and them being able to be sustained. But you know, if we're talking about the online space and we're talking about does it succeed on Twitch, you know, and things like that. Dota 2 started out. I mean, Dota 2 was designed kind of like Artifact, right? Like Dota 2 was designed to be an esport. You know, like it was designed to be really hard, harder than League of Legends. And you know, they launched it with TI, like the very first TI. You know, well, not TI, but it's like TI 0. You know, was this $1 million tournament that happened 2 weeks. You know, like or when the beta launched, right? That's how they announced that game. And I think since then, it's pretty much just been, you know, the Dota 2 streaming community has been dominated by tournaments. You know, whether it's TI or it's, you know, Beyond the Summit stuff or, you know, just like that, just those different studios doing their own things. That's all it is. Like you said, there's no streamers really in Dota 2. And that's not necessarily a good thing either, you know, because for a while Dota was like an all or nothing type of thing. Like it was nothing going on. Literally after TI, all the teams would break up. And like there was nothing like in the space. It was like barren and dead, like for the most part. And so I don't like that. I definitely don't want an environment like that. And Artifact, I think it needs to solve that issue. The biggest issue definitely is spectator. Like it doesn't matter if it's a tournament or if it's somebody streaming. Like you have to make it so that people can understand what's going on, you know, and you know, one thing right now, like lane by lane, you know, it's a little bit hard to tell like how you're doing just overall, like in the game visually. But if you're, you know, focused on one lane right now, right? Like you don't know, you have no semblance of how you're doing in the other lanes until you actually go to them. And, you know, the good news is it always goes in order, right? So you don't spend too much time in each lane. So, you know, so it won't be stuck there. At least the cameras won't be stuck in a certain lane. But you know what I mean by that, right? It's a little bit hard. MOBA struggle with the same thing too. And MOBAs have clearly figured it out. But Artifact has to figure it out too. Like there's no question, like that's going to be the biggest challenge for them. And I think that Artifact's player base is
Do
going
you
to be
think
smaller
the
too.
interface from someone spectating will be like very different than like in
No.
Overwatch, right? If someone, right, the spectation in Overwatch is very different than
Yeah.
obviously from a player perspective. So
What do you mean?
I can't even imagine how it would look like. Just that you have a greater overview about everything, but I don't know how.
I mean, they don't use that third person view that much in Overwatch. It's they've gone through that type of evolve, just the evolution of spectator in Overwatch, and I think it's still the slider is still more towards first person spectator, which isn't TV friendly. Isn't like great for the accessibility to people that don't know Overwatch. But for the people that do know Overwatch, it is better. Like it's just you can see the skill like a lot more clearly, right? You can see a tracer and how good the tracer is, or a Genji or whatever when you're watching first person point of view versus third person. So third person's like telling a story. I would say like you kind of go to that view whenever want the casters to tell a story or kind of like try to set the stage type of thing, and then you go into first person whenever it comes down to the actual like
I remember
gameplay,
that in the first year of Overwatch it was very like nobody knew what the hell was going on when you watched like some tournament games, but Overwatch League was like very fun to watch as a spectator.
That's good. I mean that's good that you think that for sure. So I mean with Artifact, I mean at the very least there's going to be elements that are like Hearthstone, right? Like they're going to show cards from both sides. Like we're talking about from a Twitch standpoint, like from a streaming standpoint, not from an in-game. I'm sure the in-game broadcast, like spectating thing is going to be cool, super cool. We've never seen that, obviously. But from a standpoint of watching it, from Twitch, there's going to have to be some best practices that, people figure out, like how are we going to do that? Are we literally just going to go to the person's turn and then just have them, just cycle through their turn, like, and do that? That's one thing that we could do for sure. And probably the easiest thing and probably the most likely, direction that ends up going. But I think it's going to be, it should be an exercise. And I'm sure they've done it to some degree internally. I mean, probably maybe a large degree to figure out, just the best way to present it. Because, we've never seen an esport actually show the game differently than it's actually than a player actually plays it. Do you know what I mean? Like the UI is not completely different than what an actual player sees. We've never done that. It's possible to do that though. Like it's actually possible to have a capture view. Yeah. Like when have we ever done that? When have we ever shown the game in a different way? We've never.
I think you're right.
Yeah. I mean, Overwatch is probably the closest thing. CSGO never does. CSGO is like purely 100% first person point of view. And so, I think that could be something to, maybe look at there because, traditional sports, at least football, shows different angles like a lot. They show like an overhead angle sometimes, they show a side angle for the most part. There's different elements to it, and obviously that looks different than an actual quarterback, like the guy who's actually throwing the ball. His vantage point is completely different than how it's shown, and we've never seen that in esports. So, I think that's something, I don't know if Artifact's the right thing to test with that, but it's definitely something that everybody should consider and see, what that product is, that viewing product is. So yeah, I think that Artifact has its own challenges too. And, Hearthstone have set all the standards, like we figured all of those out a long time ago, like it hasn't changed much, to be honest. Seriously, like since, me and Milkcast, and who else? Like Well Played, back in the day when Well Played was doing it. I mean, it really hasn't changed much since then. I mean, it's just a little bit different because people have spectator mode, so you're like capturing from, you don't have to capture an extra, an extra screen anymore. But outside of that, it looks exactly the same. Like the cams are still in the same place, and very little evolution from there. So, there's got to be some evolution in watching card games. There has to be something better we can do. So anyways, any other questions? We've been kind of like just kind of rambling off at the end of this. We had a lot of time to fill here, guys. But maybe one more question, then we'll call it a day. One last question. What if Hearthstone added a Diablo card out of nowhere? Can you imagine that? Oh man, that'd be pretty cool. The Butcher like shows up. Okay, give you about 20 more seconds. Anything else? Okay. Here's something. What about a heart rate monitor connected to each player during the stream? Imagine Unknown makes the top 8 and he's pumping 180 beats per second while Muzzy is sitting across from 55 beats per minute. Yeah. I mean, I think that, maybe that one's, one of those things where you just see it for one time and you're thinking it's cool and then you don't, really look at it too much. But that's like along the right lines though. Like I think we need just a little bit more stuff like that. Something that's more than just the camera. The camera's like, there's only so much that you can get from the camera. So there's more, kind of framing just the situation that I think we could do. And that's like a good example. I think that's a good one. Okay, well, it looks like we're out of questions, so why don't we wrap up? Gaara, obviously a lot of fun doing this. And any shout-outs you want to do before we take off?
Shout-outs to my stream as always, twitch.tv/GarbishShaman. Stream tomorrow again. Probably gonna play Hearthstone and Magic Arena, hopefully. Okay. A lot of people seem to be having fun with Magic Arena. So
yeah, play it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, me too. I'll definitely be mixing it into, and it's just nice playing a new game. It's been a long time because I didn't really play Gwent that much at all. Like I played Gwent maybe once or twice, and I never really got a chance to seriously try out a new card game outside of Hearthstone. And yeah, it's just a good experience. It's not the same experience as the first time I played Hearthstone. I mean that's just like another level, but it's still really, really fun. Definitely encourage that. Okay, any other shout outs you want to do? Anything?
Not really. All good.
Okay. I'll I guess do the same. I give a shout out to you, Gaara, of course, and then another shout out to just our sponsor MTG Arena for sponsoring this episode, and of course we are an hsreplay.net show, so be sure to go to hsreplay.net, sign up for premium, get all this amazing features. We are coming out with features in the next week or two, so you're going to be seeing some new stuff before BlizzCon. Get ready for that, and then before the next expansion, you're going to see something really, really cool, which I can't wait for you guys to see. So, we've been working on a lot of things behind the scenes for a while now, like localization. If a lot of people that live in different countries, you'll notice that you'll see HS Replay translated and whatnot, and a lot of things that a lot of you guys probably didn't even see, especially you English speakers. So we're trying to get some of these features that a lot more for just a lot of things that you guys will get a chance to use and see every day. So expect those in the next few weeks, next 2 months, and I'll definitely make sure to be promoting it on here as well. But that's going to be it. Make sure you follow the show on Twitter, ValueTalentGG, and you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/hsreplaynet, and on all the audio channels, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud.com/ChanmanV. That's going to be it, guys. For Gaara and myself, ChanmanV, we'll see you next week.
Peace.